ओके, 1 मिनट बस और। ठीक है, लास्ट सेशन में हम लोग ने देखा था, यहाँ से स्टार्ट किया था। डीबी ओपन कर लेते हैं अपना वाला, बाकी बंद कर देता हूँ। टेलीफोन डीबी बनाया था ना, टेलीफोन डीबी बनाया था क्या था, सीक्वल ट्रेनिंग डीबी, ओके सॉरी, ये वाला बनाया था। फर्स्ट कमांड जो हमने देखी थी वो तो सिंपल थी, क्रिएट डेटाबेस और उसके बाद डेटाबेस का नाम। तो फर्स्ट पॉइंट होता है हमारा सीक्वल पढ़ते समय कि भाई हमें डेटाबेस क्रिएट करना है। वेरी सिंपल है कि बस एक छोटी सी कमांड है, क्रिएट डेटाबेस, और डेटाबेस का जो भी नाम दोगे तो वो डेटाबेस क्रिएट हो जाएगा। ठीक है। सेकंड कमांड हमने पढ़ी थी, डेटाबेस क्रिएट होने के बाद भाई डेटाबेस में क्या बनते हैं, टेबल्स बनते हैं। एक डेटाबेस में मल्टीपल टेबल बना सकते हो, आप ढेर सारे टेबल बना सकते हो। तो टेबल बनाने के लिए कमांड जो है वो है क्रिएट टेबल, उसके बाद टेबल का नाम आएगा, उसके बाद टेबल के अंदर होते हैं कॉलम्स। तो टेबल कैसी होती है ये सबको पता ही है। एक दिखा देता हूँ पहले से एग्जांपल जो बनाई थी उस दिन, या फिर एक काम करते हैं ठीक है। टेबल कुछ होती है जिसमें भाई कुछ रोज़ होंगी, कुछ कॉलम्स होंगे। अभी आपको जैसे ये ब्लैंक दिख रहा है, अगर मैं कोई अपनी ऐसी बनी बनाई टेबल दिखा दूँ तो टेबल कुछ ऐसे होती है, राइट। कुछ कॉलम्स होंगे, इसमें मल्टीपल रोज़ हो सकती हैं, समथिंग लाइक दिस। तो डेटा जो हमारा एप्लीकेशन में सेव होता है वो सारा डेटाबेस में होता है। डेटाबेस में टेबल्स होती हैं, टेबल्स में डेटा रो और कॉलम की फॉर्म में, टैबुलर फॉर्म में सेव होता है। इतनी बात आई होप सीधी सी है। बात थी फिर टेबल बनाते कैसे हैं, तो उसका सिंटेक्स था क्रिएट टेबल, टेबल का नाम, कॉलम का नाम, कॉलम में किस टाइप का डेटा स्टोर होने वाला है, डिफरेंट टाइप्स का। उस दिन हम लोग ने केवल देखा था वैरकर। वैरकर मतलब जहाँ पे आपको स्ट्रिंग स्टोर करनी है, टेक्स्ट स्टोर करना है, अल्फ़ाबेट्स और ये स्टोर करना है। तो जैसे किसी का नाम हो गया, किसी का एड्रेस हो गया, समथिंग लाइक दैट। तो उसके लिए हमने देखा था कि वैरकर, और उसके आगे उसकी लेंथ लिख सकते हैं कि मैक्सिमम लेंथ इतनी हो सकती है, कम डालो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है, लेकिन ये मैक्सिमम लेंथ बताई है। सिमिलरली एक और कॉलम बनाया था फ़ोन नंबर, उसकी लेंथ डाल दी थी 12। एक चीज़ हम लोग ने नोटिस की थी, उसने बोला था कि फ़ोन नंबर में भले ही डिजिट्स होती हैं, बट इट्स गुड टू अवॉइड यूजिंग इंटीजर और समथिंग लाइक दैट टू स्टोर अ फ़ोन नंबर। फ़ोन नंबर के लिए हमें हमेशा स्ट्रिंग या वैरकर यूज़ करना चाहिए। इसके पीछे रीज़न दिया था, किसी को याद है क्या रीज़न था? लास्ट क्लास में कुछ जो था, कोई बताओ यार। हम्म, नहीं नहीं, फ़ोन नंबर में भी दिया था कि देखो, फ़ोन नंबर को नंबर में ना सेव करने का रीज़न ये है कि पहली बात तो फ़ोन नंबर कई बार ऐसे भी होता है, +9170 समथिंग। ठीक है, तो इसमें प्लस और माइनस वगैरह नहीं आ पाएगा अगर फ़ोन नंबर में आप नंबर ले लोगे तो ये प्रॉब्लम बन जाता है कई बार फ़ोन नंबर के साथ। सेकंड थिंग कि बेस्ट ये होता है कि जब भी आप फ़ोन नंबर सेव कर रहे हो, उसे स्ट्रिंग में सेव करो। उसका एक अगला रीज़न ये होता है कि फ़ोन नंबर यूजुअली बहुत बड़ा हो सकता है, 10-12 डिजिट का हो सकता है। कई बार आपको नॉर्मल किसी लैंग्वेज में आप कर रहे हो सकता है इंटीजर की लेंथ उतनी सपोर्ट ना करती हो, तो उसके लिए आपको कोई बड़ा डेटा टाइप लेना पड़े, जैसे लॉन्ग लेना पड़े, या वो डेटा टाइप्स होते हैं अलग अलग लेंथ सपोर्ट करते हैं। थर्ड रीज़न ये था, सिंपल सी बात है यार, कि फ़ोन नंबर कोई ऐसी चीज़ नहीं है जिसके साथ आप कोई कैलकुलेशन करोगे, कि उसमें किसी और चीज़ का सम करोगे, उसका डिवीज़न करोगे, मल्टीप्लिकेशन करोगे, उसका एवरेज निकालोगे। तो जिस चीज़ में हमें कोई कैलकुलेशन करनी नहीं है, उस चीज़ को हम स्ट्रिंग बोले या नंबर बोले, हमारे लिए कोई फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता, वो जैसा था वैसे ही रहेगा। करेक्ट। अगर फ़ोन नंबर किसी का एक है तो वही रहेगा, उसमें कोई प्लस माइनस नहीं होना। तो जब तक किसी नंबर के साथ कैलकुलेशन नहीं होनी, तब तक उसे नंबर रखने का कोई ख़ास फ़ायदा नहीं है, वो स्ट्रिंग भी हो सकता है। ओके, तो ये हमने एक बात बताई थी जो फ़ोन नंबर पे यूजुअली ध्यान देनी चाहिए हम लोग को लेते समय, कि हमेशा स्ट्रिंग में या वैरक्यार में लेते हैं। अगला हमने एक और लास्ट में बात पढ़ी थी एज के बारे में, कि जब भी हमें कभी एज स्टोर करनी हो किसी की, तो हमें कभी एज स्टोर नहीं करनी चाहिए, हमें स्टोर करना चाहिए उसकी डेट ऑफ बर्थ, क्योंकि एज चेंज होती रहती है। आज किसी की एज 25 साल है, हो सकता है 10 दिन बाद उसके बर्थडे पे 26 साल हो जाए। तो डेटाबेस में अगर आपने 25 स्टोर कर दिया कि भाई सचिन की एज आज की डेट में 25 साल है, तो 26 अपने आप नहीं होगी ऑटोमेटिकली। बेस्ट है कि हमेशा डेट ऑफ बर्थ स्टोर करो विच इज़ फिक्स, तो चेंज नहीं होगी ऑटोमेटिक। तो ये चीज़ें हमने लास्ट सेशन में पढ़ी थी, राइट। क्रिएट टेबल कमांड, क्रिएट डेटाबेस कमांड। नेक्स्ट कमांड होगी भाई, देखिए अभी हमने टेबल बनाई जिसमें केवल 2 कॉलम बनाए हैं, स्टूडेंट नेम और फ़ोन नंबर, सब यही है। नेक्स्ट क्वेरी जो हमारे काम की है कि अब ये टेबल तो बन गए, अब टेबल में डेटा डालना है, करेक्ट। डेटा डालने के लिए जो नेक्स्ट कमांड है वो इंसर्ट कमांड बोलते हैं। तो हमारा थर्ड कमांड जो काम की है वो इंसर्ट, और उसका सिंटेक्स है इंसर्ट इनटू, लास्ट टाइम ये आई गेस बताया था, इंसर्ट इनटू कॉन्टैक्ट, मतलब इंसर्ट इनटू फिर टेबल का नाम लिखेंगे, टेबल के नाम के बाद आएंगे ब्रैकेट्स के अंदर कॉलम का नाम, किस किस कॉलम में वैल्यू डालनी है। आवाज़ आ रही है ना सबको? ओके, किस किस कॉलम में वैल्यू डालनी है। जैसे आपको स्टूडेंट नेम और फ़ोन नंबर में वैल्यू डालनी है, तो आपने यहाँ से 2 कॉलम कॉपी किए हैं और उसके बाद लिखा वैल्यूज़, और यहाँ पे 2 वैल्यू डालनी है। जब भी आपको वैल्यू डालनी होगी स्ट्रिंग या वैरक्यार टाइप की, उसके लिए आप सिंगल कोट लगाओगे और उसके बीच में वैल्यू लिखोगे। तो एक सिंगल कोट में पहली वैल्यू आएगी नेम, दूसरे सिंगल कोट में दूसरी वैल्यू आएगी फ़ोन नंबर। जिस सीक्वेंस में आपने यहाँ पे लिखा है उसी सीक्वेंस में यहाँ पे वैल्यू लिखनी पड़ेगी। अगर आपने फ़ोन नंबर पहले लिख दिया, स्टूडेंट नेम बाद में लिख दिया तो भी चलेगा, बस आपको ध्यान रखना पड़ेगा कि फिर फ़ोन नंबर पहले डालो। तो ये फ़र्क नहीं पड़ता कि डेटाबेस में जो कॉलम बनाए हैं आपने टेबल में उसका सीक्वेंस क्या था। फ़र्क ये पड़ता है कि आपने जो सीक्वेंस यहाँ लिखा है वही सीक्वेंस में वैल्यू यहाँ लिखनी है। ओके, एग्ज़ाम्पल यहाँ पे मैं डालता हूँ सचिन और फ़ोन नंबर डाला कुछ भी, और यहाँ पे मैंने इंसर्ट क्वेरी को सेलेक्ट किया और रन का बटन दबाया। अभी आप यहाँ पे देख सकते हो एक एरर आई है, स्टूडेंट नेम ऑफ रिलेशन कॉन्टैक्ट डज नॉट एग्जिस्ट। उसका बताता हूँ रीज़न। ओके, जस्ट ओके वसंती, ओके या हाय वसंती, या गुड मॉर्निंग। ओके, सो अभी तक like till now we didn't have start anything new. We were just like revisiting what we discussed in the last session. Okay, so last session we have discussed the create database, create table. Then I'm telling about like how we can enter the insert the data into the database. So for inserting the data into a table, we have read that this insert command, where we have to write insert into table name, then we have to write column names in a small brackets, and then value, then again the value of those columns what we need to put. And so here we have written contact, student name, comma, phone number, values, and any two values what I want to put in student name and phone number. We need to make sure that whatever the order of column name we have used here, if we have used here student name, comma, phone number, then it should be Sachin, comma, something like first name then phone number. If I have written something like phone number, comma, student here, then it should be first phone number then name. Okay, so it doesn't matter, it literally doesn't matter that at time of creating the table in what order your column were. For example, in this table I have created contact table and I have written student name first and phone number second. But if I want to do something like this, it's totally fine. Yeah, it's fine. We can change the order while inserting the data. Just we need to make sure in the same value should be in the same order. This is also perfectly fine. This query is not incorrect. So what I want to say, the order of column in a table is like, it doesn't matter. It is actually nothing there is nothing something like a column order of the column that name is first appears first in the table. It's just the display, like whatever you want to display first will display first. it, we can never say that a name comes before phone number in this table. This is the incorrect sentence. Okay, suppose I want to now insert this data. What I need to do, in some of the database, especially in the Postgres, in other database it will doesn't matter. I have not never seen this problem in MySQL or MS SQL, but in Postgres you should give the column names under double quotes. So sometimes it takes like like while creating the contact table I have not written the double quote, but it worked. But while inserting, if I have not I don't written the double quote, it is not working. So again we have a few error. Okay, this is the extra comma. I just remove the comma, and then insert into phone number, and then then it is saying a column student name of relation contact does not exist. Is there a spelling mistake? Student name of relation contact. So okay, this is very important part of being any software engineer. Like whenever you are working on a code in any language, or whether you are working on a database or anything, so whatever the error come while working on anything, we need to do practice of reading that error, trying to understand what it says. Because this is like, even this was my experience when I started my programming career. It was like it seems very difficult whenever an error come. What we try to find out, we try to find out in the code, okay, this looks correct, this looks wrong, this looks right, this looks wrong. But this was not the right way to find out the error. The right way to find out the error is read the error carefully. What does it says? Whether it is a 10 line error or a single line error, read the error carefully, then try to understand in the code that what did you what have you done wrong. So for example, in this case it is saying column student name of relation contact does not exist. So first of all, what I want to check, then in contact table, do we have student underscore name? Yes, we have student underscore name. We have phone number. Then why it is saying it's incorrect? Few reason could be. Okay, see, the thing is right now we are in which database? Here it is showing the database name, and database name is telephone DB. And where I am checking the table contact, okay, no, that is not a problem here. Let me tell you first thing. See, first of all, we created this database, and actually my system have a lot of database, right? If you see the contact table which I am showing you, this contact is like student name, phone number here. This is inside SQL training, and what I am selecting here is the telephone DB. So first of all, I am in different DB. Here I am in different DB, and here I am in different DB. So two things what I can do, I can simply cut these lines from here and use the different sheet where we actually have this line. Okay. So I think in this contact I have that also I have filled the values, but let me. Okay. So now if I want to enter a more number, so let's change the name. Say Rahul, and if I want to insert like this in the different sequence, I just click here and it worked. Okay. Understood. And any question now, as of now? Okay. So yeah, Vasanti, you were telling anything about the double quote, like we didn't insert the double quote while creating the table and all. No. So the thing is like at while giving a values, whatever the values are, value should always be in single quote if it is a varchar. These are value, but the column name can be in double quote, even table name can be in double quote, it doesn't matter. If I would write like this, it will still work. So sometime I have seen Postgres do not allow inserting data or selecting data if you do not add up double quote in the column name. Sometime it allows it, literally not a good thing with Postgres, that sometimes you have to add the double quotes in the with the column name, but usually it doesn't. Like I have seen that last day I tried without double quote and it worked, but it's kind of like different behavior and different time. So you must have, if you have encountered a problem that you have a column name and it is still saying that column is not present, best way, add a double quote and try again. Okay. Everyone is following till yet, right? Okay, thank you. Okay, so now we have inserted the data, and then I have also told you, must have told you another query which is a select query, where I have simply written select * from contact the table name, and * is a shorthand for all. So it is actually this. When I am writing strict, it means all. So whenever I read this, I will read it as like select all from contact. And whenever I run this query, what it will do, it will select all columns of the contact table and display the data here, right? Okay. While selecting, there are a few more things we can do. So when like I mentioned a few seconds ago, I mentioned it select all columns from contact. So if I want to select only one column, suppose I just want to know how many students are there, or like print all the student names, I can simply write student name. Yeah, and one more thing I suggest, like while doing coding, it's a very good practice. Like while doing coding in any of the language, while writing SQL queries, while writing anything, if you have a variable name, a column name, a table name already written on your screen anywhere, do not type it again, copy it again, copy and paste. And the reason behind this, that when we copy a variable name, a column name, a table name, or anything, we are sure that whatever we have written above, we are writing the same spelling again. Otherwise, sometime what happens, that you did a typo while writing any. Suppose in a student name I just write like this, and what it will give? It will give error, obviously, right? And you have to like spend some time to find out what I did wrong. So it's best way, if it is already written on your screen somewhere, just copy it and paste it here. Another reason, maybe suppose at the time of it may also happen that you are like very good in English and you know that your spelling can never be incorrect. But when you are working on a big project, when you are working with a big team, there are chances. Suppose you want to select data from a table, name a student, you will simply write select all from a student, and it seems very easy that how can someone do a spelling mistake in a student. But you may be sure that you will never do the spelling mistake, but there are chances that the person who created the table may have done a spelling mistake. He may have moved E or U or anything from that uh, at the time of creating the table. And suppose if that at the time of creating the table, if student table spelling was incorrect, then even if you write the correct spelling, it will not work. So best way, just copy the names, variable names, column name, table name, everything whenever you have the option to copy. Otherwise, obviously you can type. So these are just basic standard practices which we should follow. It will always save our time. But anyways, so what I wanted to show it here, like whenever we want to select only one column or two column, we can mention the column name instead of writing this all. All stands for all columns. So I can write something like this. Okay, I can remove this. I can add this after phone number. This is also perfectly fine, right? तो यहाँ पे अभी तक हम लोग ने क्या देखा कि डेटाबेस कैसे क्रिएट किया, हाउ टेबल कैसे क्रिएट की, डेटा कैसे इंसर्ट किया, डेटा इंसर्ट होने वाले टेबल में कॉलम की पोजीशंस मैटर करती हैं या नहीं करती हैं. सो दीज आर द फ्यू थिंग विच वी लर्न. नाउ नेक्स्ट थिंग बिफोर प्रोसीडिंग, before proceeding to few other queries, one thing I should cover now, which I skipped in the last session, is the what are the various data types in Postgres. So when we are talking about data types, I am talking about this. By creating the table, I have written varchar, correct? So this varchar, what I have written here, this varchar is data type, like what type of data it is going to save in this column, which I am saying it's a character of varying length. It could be of any length till 50 character, it could be of any length till 12 character. So this is the very most common data type is varchar for storing any string, or you can say alphabet, sentences, whatever you want to pronounce it. And next is okay, next important data type, I must say it is integer. And no, I am sure that I don't need to tell what is integer. It whenever I want to store any number, I can use integer, but that number should not have any decimal places. If a number is like 8 or 8000 or anything like this, it is fine. But if I want to store something like 9.8, then integer doesn't work, right? And then at this case we have like something called double, we have float. So same type of data type available in Postgres like we have in coding, we can use double or float. There is another option to store an integer, that is called big int. And what is the difference between integer and big int? It is very easy to tell what is the difference between integer and big int, because the name suggests big int allows user to store really very big numbers. For example, if I have an integer like this, there are chances that integer can't support this much big number. Even there are chances that big int can't support this big number. That it is sure that whatever biggest number integer can store, big int can store much more bigger number than integer. Okay. So in normal usual scenario, whenever you will work for an organization for a project, there will never be like these much big number. So most of the actual requirements for real world requirement can still easily be covered inside a big int. So we usually use big int at the time of creating any whenever we need an integer, we simply take big int. That is easier. So big int is a way to go instead of integer. And for the decimal point places, we can use double, and we have one another called numeric. When we take numeric, there is a syntax. In the numeric, we need to give something like this. For example, 10, 2. And what does it mean? Like 10 places, 10 total 10 digits, and it could be 2 decimal places. If I want to store like 4 decimal places, we should write like this. Okay. So for example, if I want to, I know that what I am gonna save in my column is always some amount in Indian rupees. Then I know that I always need 2 decimal places, right? So I can simply write 2 here, and it will make sure that I will always use 2 decimal places. It will never be like 835 or something like that. It will be always in 2 decimal places. There are a few more data types. One of the important data type is date. Whenever I want to save the date, something like 2022, what I'm typing, 2022. 1007 or something like that. I can use data type. Next data type, what I want to tell you is this JSON and XML. There are two other data types where we can store a bulk of JSON data and XML data. Like, how many of you already know what is XML and what is JSON? Anyone? Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay, no problem. So Ravi, आपने बोला था, right? So Ravi, what is JSON or what is XML? आपको क्या पता है इसके बारे में? हाँ हाँ. ये बिल्कुल सही आंसर है. सो वट एवर रवि सैड इज़ अ परफेक्ट आंसर. लेट मी टेल यू लिटिल. So as part of this class, SQL class, you will not need to know what is JSON or what is XML. But if still, just because this is not a simple SQL class, I would rather take it as a training for your upcoming professional life. So you always need to know what is JSON and what is XML. So I hope HTML सबको पता है यहाँ पे. Everyone knows what is HTML, or is there anyone who doesn't know what is HTML? And okay, सुमित, आयुष, उत्कर्ष, आप लोग इतने शांत मत रहो यार, कुछ तो बोला करो. Okay. सुमित, आयुष. Okay. Do you know what is HTML? Yeah. Okay, so let me tell you. Whenever you open any website, any web page, the whatever can be opened in a browser. What is browser? Chrome is the browser, Firefox is the browser, Opera is the browser, Safari is the browser, right? I know that I don't need to tell what is browser in these days. It's a very common word, correct? So whatever website, whatever web page you are seeing in your browser, if you click on inspect and see its source code, you will see code something like this, and this is HTML. And HTML code is something like, in div angular bracket we call it tags, correct? So XML is simply again the same kind of thing like HTML. In XML also we have a tags. So if you see what is XML, XML is something like this. So this simply looks like HTML, right? And this is also XML, right? Yeah, the thing is tags are different, or I can say that XML is a superset of HTML. In HTML we have a predefined tags, like we know that we have a head, we have a body, we have style, we have script, we have input, we have a like a predefined set of tags that could be 10 tags, 20 tags, or 30 tags, whatever. But in XML, anything whatever is written in angular bracket, that is a tag. In XML there is no foundation that this is a tag and this is not a tag. You can create your own tags. So whatever is written in this format, opening tag and closing tag, and the data between opening tag and closing tag, that is XML, extensible markup language. So HTML is kind of a subset of extensible markup language. So सब के लिए यही कि HTML जो है वो एक तरीके से सबसेट है हमारा XML का. XML is way much bigger than HTML, it's a superset. So this kind of data, so whenever we want to save the data, whenever we want to pass the data through a network, for example, whenever I am opening a website, suppose I am opening this website and I click on some link, suppose I click on this New Zealand versus Pakistan, and when I clicked on this link, there must be some call goes to the server, right? And the call returns some data which is now displayed in my system. So एक यूज़र के लिए दिस इज़ एज मच सिंपल एज दैट कि मैंने एक लिंक पे क्लिक किया एंड आई एम एबल टू सी द डेटा. But for a developer, we all need to know whenever I click on a link from my computer or my browser, a request, a HTTP request goes to server, and server does some processing with the request and provide us a data back, and that data will be rendered to our browser. ठीक है. तो ये सेंटेंस बड़े ध्यान से सुनने वाली बात थी कि जब भी हमने ब्राउज़र पे कुछ क्लिक करते हैं, एक FTTP रिक्वेस्ट जाती है सर्वर पे जहाँ पे ये सब कुछ आपका इंस्टॉल्ड है और होस्टेड है, वेबसाइट होस्टेड है, एंड दैट सर्वर प्रोसेस दैट रिक्वेस्ट एंड देन रिटर्न्स बैक अस द डेटा, एंड दैट डेटा इज अगेन गेटिंग डिस्प्लेड ऑन आवर ब्राउज़र और रेंडर्ड इन आवर ब्राउज़र. करेक्ट. सो इसमें जो डेटा का आदान प्रदान हुआ, लाइक द डेटा विच इज़ बीइंग सेंट फ्रॉम आवर ब्राउज़र टू सर्वर और द डेटा विच इज़ बीइंग received by our browser from the server, that data could be XML data. This is the like very traditional way of sending data, that is any XML data. But the most new way of sending data which have been used since past many years, and I can say 90% of IT industry is not using XML now. Only those companies are using XML now, which were quite old and already have written the programs of passing the XML and all. Otherwise, most of the guys are not using XML to pass the data now. What we are using to pass the data right now throughout the network is called JSON. This is JSON. Okay, sorry. Yeah. And what is JSON? See, in XML, what we are doing in the data, suppose it is a simple, what diff data is mentioning. If diff data is saying that we have a note, and in note we have a few things. We have two, it's a simple it could be anything. We have a two, to whom this note is referring to, from whom this note is referring, who sent this note. Jani sent a note to Tov, and the heading of the note is reminder, and the body of the note is don't forget me this weekend. So this is just a simple data, and this is a way to represent the data, that we have divided the full message into four parts, that what is the body, what is the subject, who sent this, and to whom it is going to be sent, and we just put it under some tags and we call this as XML. So this is just a simple data, we call it as XML when we write in the text format. We can write the same data in some different format which we call as JSON, and let me tell you how JSON looks like. Suppose I clicked on inspect, I go to network tab, and I simply remove all these things, and if I click of any of the tab, for example I am going to click on ICC Men's 2020 World Cup. Okay, when I clicked on this, you can see a lot of network request goes to lot of network request. So everything, whenever you click on some link, a lot of network call goes to server. Some call is returning the image whatever are showing here. Some calls are returning the data, right? Some call may be returning an audio file which you hear the beep sound or something whenever you open something. It happens someday. Okay, so these all the data come from these network call. And suppose I see some of the network call. For example, I am going to open this highlight lift. When I click on highlight lift, so this call goes to crickbunch.com, cricket series API stats highlight lift, and after question mark we call it as parameters. Like we have a parameters in any of the function in any of the programming language, we have parameter while calling these things, and the parameter they are passing stats boundary series of world for 2020 and series ID 3961. And if we go to the what is the response of this call, you can see it here like this. total force 0, total success 0, last 4 empty array, last 6 empty array, leader force empty array, leader success empty array. And this is a JSON data. So JSON data is written in a key value pair format, right? This is key and this is its value, this is key and this is its value. Similar to like this, suppose I want to write this in JSON format. What I will write something like, give me a second. Okay, here. I will write something like note. Okay, because first is note. Inside note, what I need, four things. So I will write, whenever I need more than one value, I will again write an curly bracket, and whenever something is written in curly bracket in JSON, we call it as an object. So this is a big object. Inside this we have a key called note, and value of that key will again be an object, and then again this object we will have key something like 2, and we have a value like top, then comma, we have value from, so we have a key from value Jenny, we have a heading, we have a value reminder, we have a body, so these are the two ways of writing the same data. This is XML format and this is JSON format. So this type of data is JSON format, this type of data is XML format. Most of the websites are using JSON data right now these days. So we must just know like what are these type of data, and I am sure like whoever is going to work for any of the project or any other organization, you must have to deal with JSON data many times in everyday life. Like in everyday life you have to see the JSON data and do the things with your data. So this is much important point, that's why I told you like what is XML and what is JSON. Okay, so whatever the data, like these servers respond us in this format, JSON format. And what if you can see that right now what data it is actually telling you, it is actually telling you in this ICC Men's 2020 World Cup how many fours have been hit, how many sixes have been hit. So right now this tournament has not even started, it will be started on 16th October. After 16 October, if you will just simply hit this URL, you will get the data in this format, like how many fours and how many sixes have been hit. Okay, so this is how it works. Give me a second. Okay, so I have pasted that URL here, and you can see the data here like this, or better it will be visible like this. Okay, so this is JSON data and XML data, what I wanted to tell you. Now let's back to SQL. So these are the data types. If you want to store the full XML tags data, I can use XML. If I want to use the key value pair data, I can use JSON data type. Or the most common data type which you are gonna use right now is varchar, begin, or numeric or double, or date. Yeah, so these are the few basic data type which we should know. When I mentioned these 5 or 6 data type, it doesn't mean that we only have this much data type. Actually in any language or any database, there are lot of type of data type. We don't even need each and every data type always. That's why I usually skip this. But if anyone if interested what are the other data type, I'm sure that are not even required. But this is one of the link PostgreSQL.com, and you can simply, like in the Postgres website itself, you can find a data type HTML where they have mentioned all the types of data type. So it's a big int, big serial, bit varying, boolean, box, byte, character, circle, date, double precision, init. A lot of data type are there, not even required to know. Okay. One important data type I missed is the boolean. This is important. This is where you can have just two values, either true or false. Okay. So these are the few data type we can provide while creating a table. Now let's get back to now our data type. After that, okay. Now suppose I have already inserted these three numbers. Sachin number is this, Saurav number is this, Rahul number is this, right? I know how I can check the data. Now suppose I want to update the data. What I mean, suppose I want to change the phone number of Saurav. Currently phone number of Saurav is this. Suppose I want to change the phone number of Saurav to this or anything else, right? If I want to change the phone number of Saurav to something else, how can I update that data? For that we have an update query, and now I will tell you like what is the syntax of update query. Syntax of update query is like update, then we have to write a table name. Table name is contact. Then I have to write I have to write keyword called set, and in set we tell like what column we are going to set. Suppose I am going to set the column phone number equal to whatever the new number I want to set inside single quote, right? So suppose I have written update contact set phone number equal to something. So what this query will do, what it is saying, that update the table contact and change the phone number to this. But right now we have not told this query that whom phone number we need to change. I have just written change phone number to this, but Sachin's phone number, Saurav's phone number or Rahul's phone number, I have not written it, right? So if I will run this query, it will update phone number of each and every record. So this phone number will be assigned to each and every record, which is not correct, and which will become a disaster if you do it in a real world project. So how I can update a specific person's data? Then with every update query we have to put one more word which we call as where. Set phone number equal to this, where student name equal to Saurav. So what this mean, that change the phone number to this only for that row where if student name is Saurav. So in first row we have a student name as Sachin, it will skip this row. In second row we have a student name Saurav, so it will update this. Then it comes to third row, it is student name is Rahul, it will skip it. Suppose there is one more row with same name Saurav, it will again update that record. So in all the rows where student name is Saurav, it will update the phone number to this. This is what this query does. So I'm gonna run it. Update 1, it is saying like how many records it has been updated, because we have only one record with Saurav. Now if we will select it again, and you can see the new number here, right? And you must have also noticed that previously Saurav was displayed here, and now Saurav is displayed here. So this is again very important thing. A few minutes earlier I have told you that the order of the columns in a table doesn't matter. Similarly, the order of the rows in a table doesn't matter. if even if it is showing Saurav below, sometime it may happen that Saurav will come in the first line. It doesn't matter. So it doesn't matter that at first order, in first row we have Saurav, in second row we have Sachin. It doesn't matter. What matters is like whatever the column name we have there. It matters that Sachin's phone number is this, Rahul phone number is this. So this combination will always appear in one against each other. If Sachin phone number is 97128, then if Sachin will show in the second row, then 97128 will also be shown in the second row. Correct? But it will never be like, it is not true that this is the first row or this is the second row. And if you really want to make sure that whatever you are inserting into the database, it should always remain in the correct order, then instead of like relying on the database itself, you should add a extra column while creating the table. You can call that column as ID or index or anything which tells us like at what index it should be. Okay, this query is clear to everyone? Simple? Anyone? Any question? Okay, now I am going to create one more table, and then I will tell you what I was saying. Suppose I am creating a table, create table, and what should we say? Let's say table name is student, and columns, first column I take as ID, and I have written integer or big int or whatever. Then I have written name. Oh, pardon यार, आवाज़ नहीं आई, फिर से बोलोगे? Can we write all the name? Int, yeah, we can write int in Postgres. In Postgres, it allows you to write int or integer both, but in other database, like if you are using SQL Server or MySQL, in every database, the data types are different. The syntax of the query will remain same, but the name of data type can be different. So maybe MySQL doesn't allow you to write integer, it allows only you to write int. So it changes from database to database. So right now we are on this Postgres, and I believe it will allow this. Let's see. The next column I am again taking like student name as a varchar. Then I am taking, suppose, one more, let's say marks, and this I am gonna take it as again integer. I am not taking marks as double or something, just for example. So if I create a table, it will be like this. A table has been created. I want to see the data. Right? And if I want to insert data, I will write insert. Okay, so when I am inserting the data in a student table, I have three columns: ID, student name, and mark. ID I have written 1, student name Sachin, and 99 marks. And see, notice one thing: only Sachin is in single quote, because integer we do not need to write in single quote. Okay, easy. Okay, now insert let's a few more data. So 2, 3, 4, and Okay, I'm gonna run these query one by one. Okay, if I'm now going to select the student, select all from student, we will see the 4 record. But in what order it would be, it is still not decided. Let's see. It is showing 1, 4, 2, 3. As of now, we can see it is showing in the order which I ran the queries. First I ran first query, then I ran. But literally, believe me, that order never matters here. But what we have put an extra column ID. So now by seeing this column, at least we know that which order we need it. First should be Sachin, second should be Saurav, second should be Venkatesh, third should be Saurav, and fourth should be Rahul. And if I want to print this data in the correct order of ID, we have an option of writing a thing after the select query, which we called as order by. So this is a keyword order by. We can write order by, and then we need to give a column name. We can give something like ID. So if I am writing select all from student order by ID, then what it will do, it will print the records, the rows in the ascending order of the ID. Understood? Right? Suppose, and now as we are seeing like what is order by, let's say I want to print all the rows in descending order of their IDs instead of ascending order. I can simply write one more word after ID, is called DESC. Select all from student order by ID descending. It will print like this 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, simple. Suppose, so if I do not mention anything, it will take as ascending order. If I want to print in descending order, I need to add DESC at the end of the query. Suppose I have written something like order by student name, it will still work. It's not like that a student name is the alphabet like varchar, so it will not work. It will work. It will print the names in the alphabetical order. First R, then S, then V. And even in S, first SAC, then SAU. Right? So order by allows you to print the records in whatever order you want to print it, based on any of the column, either ID, either student name or marks. Suppose I want to print the order name in the descending order of their marks to know like who performed best and who performed worst. And it is now Sachin performed best and Venkatesh performed worst. Okay? Yeah, is it easy, right? Any question as of now? Nice. बाकी लोग भी बोले यार, रवि, सुमित, आयुष, उत्कर्ष. ओके तो अभी तक मैंने क्रिएट की टेबल, इंसर्ट किया डेटा, वी हैव अपडेटेड द डेटा, वी हैव सेलेक्टेड द डेटा, राइट. द नेक्स्ट थिंग व्हाट वी कैन डू लाइक डिलीटिंग अ डेटा. अभी इंसर्ट कर दिया तो वी मस्ट हैव अ वे टू डिलीट अ डेटा. सपोज आई हैव इंसर्टेड अ डेटा एंड जस्ट वांट टू डिलीट अ डेटा. व्हाट इज द क्वेरी फॉर डिलीटिंग अ डेटा? इट इज डिलीट the query, the if we tell like what all queries we have read create database, create table, select, update, insert, right? But whenever I say delete query, we say delete from. So whenever you whenever someone asks you what is the which query we need to use to delete our data, we call it delete from query. We should not call delete query. We should call as delete from, and I will tell you why I am saying that. So what is the syntax of delete query? Is delete from Then we have to write table name, which is student in this case, and then this query is this query is actually completed. We can use this query if I write something delete from student. So what I am saying, delete from student, like student table से कुछ delete करो, right? Delete something from student table, but what to delete? We are not mentioning it. If we run this query, it will delete each and every data from the student table. This is again will be very big disaster if someone does it in a production database. Every data will be lost. Okay, so never do delete from table name without any where clause. So we called it a where clause. As we are used where in this here, we can use similar where like this here. So I am writing delete from student where student name equal to Saurav. Now it will delete the row. Whenever we write delete query will delete the full row. It's not like that delete query can delete only one column, like just remove ID column or just remove the student name. Delete query will delete the full row. It can delete multiple row at a time, it can delete one row at a time, but it will delete all the column values from that row, right? So if we write delete from student where student name equal to Saurav, it will delete the full Saurav row. If I will see here now again, we will not see that full row. Now we only have 3 rows. Okay. So now one important point I want to tell you, like this is a very common problem. See, we have a select from, like select all from. We use select query much more frequently than any other query. Select query is most common query. So it's kind of like when you write this query 10 times in a day, it's a very common perception in your mind that whenever you write something, whenever you start typing query, you will automatically type asterisk symbol after select. You don't even need to think about it. So same problem happen whenever you write delete query. Some people write something like delete all from student, and whenever you write like this delete all from student, it will not work because this is incorrect. This is sort of has already been deleted, so I am just entering Rahul, and if I write like this is incorrect because delete doesn't allow you to write column names. Delete always delete the full row. That's why delete is not just delete, always read it as delete from. If you remember that query name of delete from itself, you will never try to put any letter between here like delete asterisk from or delete student name from. It will always be delete from. Delete query will delete the full row. Okay. So now we have already seen insert query, select query, update query, delete query. All the 4 queries we have seen. What are the most important queries? All these queries are part of DML. We have learning last day DDL and DML. Create query are DDL, where we are creating the database schema. We are creating table like how many columns will be there, what is the data type of the column. These are the part of DDL, data definition language. But when I am working with the actual data, the values like Sachin, Venkatesh, 99, 91, those are part of DML. So inserting the data, selecting the data, updating the data, or even deleting the data, all are the part of DML, data manipulation language. Okay, now let's discuss about the where clause in more detail. So we have seen like where student name equal to Saurav, where this or where this or where this. Now let's try to do a lot more experiment with the select query and where clause. And okay, so now I have writing something like select all from student where student name equal to Sachin. So I can write like this even in select query. As of now, we have put the like update where clause in update query or delete query. We can also put the where clause in the select query. And if we put the where clause in the select query, what will happen? It will do something like this. It will print only that row which where student name is Sachin, right? Suppose I want to print all the rows where student name is not Sachin. I can simply write like this, not equal to. This is called not equal to. So it printed all the rows where student name is not equal to Sachin. Simple. In some databases, the symbol for not equal to is this. In some databases, symbol for not equal to this. In Postgres, it allows both. In Postgres, this is also working for not equal to, this less than and greater than symbol or angular bracket, and this is also working. I prefer this one because this is the most common symbol in most of the programming languages for not equal to. Okay, so if I want to see all the data where name is not equal to Sachin, I can write simply like this. Suppose I want to see all the data for all the students who got marks at least 95, then I can write something like marks is greater than equal to 95. This will also work. Okay, Saurav I have deleted, so it's only Sachin right now with 99 marks, right? If I will write something like greater than equal to 92, then it will print Rahul and Sachin. Okay, so we can use these comparison operator like less than, greater than, less than equal to, greater than equal to, or not equal to as part of our where clause. In where we have to write a column name, then operator, then value. Correct? Okay, so easy as of now. सब clear है ना? ठीक है. Now again, most important thing, the people who have not installed Postgres yet on their system, please install Postgres, and whatever the queries which I am teaching you right now, make sure to try these queries in your system, and not only one time. Create 10 2 table, 3 table, 5 table, 10 table, how many. Try to do a lot of experiment, like how many times you will run a query and you will like get to know that these queries are much simple. It's not a thing which you need to learn. The thing is, like, these queries will be used in your everyday day-to life in the software engineering field. Whenever you will work on a project, these queries, whatever I am teaching you here, this will be used on everyday basis. So even you don't need even to memorize it, it will, or you will automatically learn it. It will not take any new effort. But the thing is, right now you are not working on a project, so it's best that you people will try out these queries at least 10 times each query, and you will obviously automatically learn it. Very simple, right? Okay. Now the next is what we are gonna learn. I will tell name later, but first of all, suppose in this table where we have like 3 data right now, Sachin, Rahul and Venkatesh, I want to print all the students where the name starts with letter S. Okay, suppose add some more rows first. It will be easy then. Okay, so I am going to add one more row, Saurav. Okay, so I added Saurav again, and I want to print all the students where the name starts with letter S. What I need to write? Where student name, then a operator we call like, where student name like, and suppose I write something like S. What it will do? It will make a comparison of student name with letter S, so it will print all the student where student name is exactly S, and there's no student name total, like the full name is not S for anyone, so it is incorrect. But what I can do, whenever I am writing value after like, I can use some special symbol. We can use a percentage symbol. A percentage symbol means that first S should appear, after S anything can be. So percentage is like something, anything. So S then anything. And when I run this query, it means print all the rows where student name starts with S and then anything. Okay. Suppose I want to print all the student name where name ends with letter N. I can write percentage N, like anything at the starting, but it should end with N. So it will print Sachin. If I want to write print all the names which contains letter U inside it, like Rahul or Saurav, both contains letter U, but not even in the beginning, not even in the starting. So I can write percentage U percentage. Anything can be in the beginning, any can be in the end, but there must be U somewhere. Okay. Rahul and Saurav. I can even write multiple characters here. Suppose I write UL, means UL should be there in the sequence UL. Anything before that, anything after that, it will print like Rahul. Okay, easy. Okay, nice. Now suppose I want to print all the student where student name contains U, and okay, so my requirement is now I want to print all the student data where name must contain letter U inside it, and the mark should be greater than 93. Then I can write something like AND. So after where clause, I can write more than one condition. I can write student name like this and marks is greater than 93. So this also works. So this part of query was returning two records, Rahul and Saurav with 92 and 95. But with this AND condition, it will like skip this record to 92 1. So it will just print Saurav. Correct? So the thing is, like after where clause, we can write many conditions. This is one condition and this is second condition. We can write as many as condition we want. We just have to put and in between. And we can also put a or. Or means any of these two conditions could be true. So student name Sachin or Saurav, student name will be Saurav or Rahul based on this condition, and based on this condition there will be one more called Sachin, right? So here it will print the three records: Sachin, Rahul, Saurav. Sachin doesn't contain U, but still it is appearing because he has more than 93 marks. Rahul doesn't have marks more than 93, but his name contains U, that's why it is printing it. Correct? Okay, so what we have learned, that how to use like, how to use and or operator. Okay, now one suggestion to everyone. Suppose I want to write three condition and marks equal to this, or ID is less than 2, something like this, or less than 3, whatever. Suppose I want to put like three conditions, and all the three conditions are separated by different logical operator. This is called logical operator, and or. So suppose one is and one is or. So now tell me how code will determine that this and this or this. So suppose I write this in this way. This is one thing. And suppose I write this. This means different, right? These two queries have different meaning. This says that these two conditions should be true or this, but wherever this says that these out of these any can be true, but this is a must condition. See, this will return this query. First condition will make sure only Saurav and Rahul will appear in the result, and this condition will make sure only those of Saurav and Rahul will appear whose ID is less than 3 or marks is greater than 92. So result will, I guess, let's see, result is only Saurav because Rahul marks is less than 93. No, so Rahul marks is less than 93 and even ID is greater than 3. But what about this? Let's see about this. So in this case, both of these two conditions true. Again, it will give the same result in this example, but I can add one more row and it will give a different result. Actually, it will not. There is one or condition. So now it will print Rahul from these two records because of this condition. Correct? No, it's not Rahul. It's Saurav. It will print Saurav for this condition, and because of this condition, it will also print these two records. Correct? So the thing is, like whenever you are writing more than two conditions in a single where clause, make sure to add brackets. Otherwise, your query will provide you different result and you will not know that what it is going to be. It's always better to use bracket while writing multiple conditions. Okay? It's easy, right? Now one more thing. Suppose in this query I want to print again, I am writing the same query, but I just wanted to print a student name. I don't want to print everything like ID, marks and student name. Then what I can do in the same query? Simply, whenever I want to print only one column or two column, again the same thing. Instead of abstract, I can write here something like student name. Okay, this asterisk can be replaced by column names. One column name, two column name, three column name, or all the column name. It doesn't matter. But if you want to go for all column name, it is just to save your time. And obviously, where we have read it like very carefully, we have read many comparison operator. We have read logical operators. We have read create table, select, insert, delete, update, all the DML queries. We have read about the order by, and we have noted that how we can order by ascending order and in descending order too. Correct? And we have read about what is JSON and what is XML just out of the SQL perspective. Okay. Now give me a minute. Okay, for next topic, I need to insert a lot more data here. Okay, let's insert a few more rows here. So I inserted a few more rows. Let's see. Okay. So I have inserted a few more rows, and you can see that rows does okay. Right now it appears in this order by Mars in descending order of right. Now what I am gonna tell you. Suppose I want to count how many rows are there in this table. We can simply see there are 8 rows, but suppose there are thousands of rows. You don't want to scroll all the data and see how many records are there, correct? So what we can do, we have a query where you can write again. How we write select query? Select all from student. This is correct query, correct? And suppose if I would write simply something like count and star is in bracket, then it will tell you how many rows are there in the student table. This is telling you 8. So next keyword we learned is count. Okay, so this is again useful. Now I want to know how many student scored more than 94 marks. Then I can write something, select count star from student where marks is greater than 94. So it will give you the count. So in like many scenarios you don't need the actual data, you don't need the full data, what is ID, what is name, what is this. You just need the number of record. That you can do using this count. Okay, so I guess it's easy. And now I believe I should not cover much more in the same session. It will sometime be like oversaturated kind of thing. Yeah, so what I suggest all of you, that make sure please try these query many times in your system before tomorrow's class. Okay, and one more important point, sorry for that inconvenience, but tomorrow class time has to be different. I have one like important appointment at 12, so class time will be like 3 to 5. Is it okay with everyone? Okay, so tomorrow class time will be 3 to 5. In case any change will be there, I will inform prior, but till 99% class time will be 3 to 5 for tomorrow. Now before like just leaving for the class, any question from anyone, anything, any question, any feedback? Oh, okay, then हाँ कैसे? ओके, मैंने उस दिन बताया था, आप लास्ट क्लास में थे नहीं, मैं बता देता हूँ, कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. ओके, क्योंकि देखो आप लोग आईटी फील्ड में हो, तो मैं आप लोगों को स्टेप्स नहीं बताऊंगा. मैं बताऊंगा कि जब भी कुछ इंस्टॉल करना हो तो क्या करना है. जब भी कुछ इंस्टॉल करना है, सिंपल लिखना है हाउ टू इंस्टॉल whatever you want to install on whatever type of operating system you have. So you want to install PostgreSQL on Windows, just open any of the link and it will give you the full instruction. So this is the link which I followed, I believe. So I am just sending the link here in this chat. Copy it, because once this call will be over, it will be removed. Okay, हाँ, तो मतलब वही है, ये बहुत कॉमन चीज़ होती है कि आईटी फील्ड में भाई रोज़ नई चीज़ इंस्टॉल करनी पड़ती है, ये सब पता नहीं होती है, सब गूगल पे मिलता है, जस्ट गूगल इट एंड यू विल गेट द आंसर। ओके। ओके, तो हाँ, फर्स्ट थिंग टुमारो एवरी वन at least show me that you have created the table and you have done some experiment. So everyone have to share your screen tomorrow just for 1 minute, each and every one of you, and show me that you have created the tables and you have ran the queries. Okay. So yeah, then I will, because tomorrow I will add some more complicated thing. We call it as a group by. Then we will have a having clause. Then we will have a length. We will have substring. So these will become much more difficult as soon as you go forward. So it's better that whatever we have learned today, let's learn all these things, like practice all these things today. Tomorrow we will have new things to practice. Okay. Okay, then yeah, let's meet tomorrow at 3 p.m. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you all. Yeah.